The Rothschild family is one of the most powerful, wealthy, and influential groups in the world. Their dynasty stretches back hundreds of years to every corner of the earth. They've been able to maintain their dominance because they were able to ensure financing of companies, governments, and more in so many different countries. There's an obvious fact. The Rothschilds own and control this corrupt system. You came here for the truth, so let me unveil that for you. Today we are going to have our focus on the Rothschilds. Many books have been written, many videos have been done exposing the Rothschilds. Today I will get onto some familiar points, but I want to address some new ones that many individuals may not be aware of. Let's begin. This is the crest, or the shield, if you will, of the Rothschilds. In the center, you can see that red shield, and that is the translation, Rothschild, red shield. And this family changed their name to the Rothschilds hundreds of years ago. For the purposes of this video at this moment, let's go back in time to Mayor Amschel Rothschild. This isn't where the story begins, but this is ultimately where the dynasty really starts to take off. So he had his 5 sons, and he sent them to different regions of the world so that they can exert their dominance in those locations. And they did so. And they were able to spread that far and wide, and they have become more and more powerful as time goes on. Now, this was hundreds of years ago. Still today, the name Rothschild rings and sustains for eternity within the financial industry. Let's look at that. Rothschild & Co., a big business. Just to name some, the Rothschild Global Advisory, private wealth and asset management, merchant banking. But these are small time. But these are public. You can see that at Rothschild.com. N.M. Rothschild & Sons. Well, you'll see here that the business specialized in foreign loan issues, bullion trading, and the finance of public utility companies, notably foreign railways. They even dealt in commodities and operated through a network of agents, whether that was New York, Madrid, Berlin, and others. The Rothschild family exists globally. There are no borders to this family. They even acquired a lease of the Royal Mint Refinery, refining bullion. Okay, they were basically making money, literally. And then they even financed De Beers. And of course, everybody knows De Beers. They own the diamond trade. They keep the price of diamonds high. They even acted as bankers to the governments of Brazil, Chile, and Egypt. And the list goes on. That's just the tip of the iceberg. 2 companies, 3 countries. I assure you that there has been significantly more interaction of the Rothschilds with other very, very powerful groups. And we'll get into that more. If you look at the De Beers website, you can see this document that I pulled up. Baron David de Rothschild. He works on the board. That's how you keep your ties with any of these different institutions. Have your men in the highest positions of power Make sure you have the politicians under wraps, and make sure that you keep, let's say, a close lookout. And this is just one way. You can see that other directorships here, you can see the long list that this one individual is part of. That's the way it works. You can see the Clintons meeting with one of the Rothschilds here. You can see Wilbur Ross, a billionaire, making sure that he has a close relationship with the White House. This is an image from 1974. The Rothschilds and their, let's just say, unusual parties that they'd like to host. Now this image here, it's just an observation. And the next image I'll show you as well. But just by observing the image, does it not seem like the Rothschild on the right is the boss of the prince on the left? Pointing at the chest, sort of treating him like a little kid. But of course, just an image. But in reality, the guy on the right finances the guy on the left. That's a fact. They have been the financiers of all of the different families, the big families. They've been financing the conflicts that have occurred in the past. They've been financing governments, the Vatican, and many others. Look at this image. Similar. The guy on the right seems very nervous, telling a joke, making sure that his boss has a good time, feels good. The guy on the left seems quite confident. Again, just an observation. Now, how can I find out which groups are connected to which groups and which individuals connected to other individuals or groups? Well, there's a website called Monarchy. Monarchy is a very, very good website for this. This is what it deals in. And I typed in the word Rothschild, and out comes this long, long list of all these different Rothschilds. You can click on this list for the names you want, and then hit that button, Monarchy Map. And it will pull something like this. You can see, for example, in this one, connecting the Rockefellers to the Rothschilds, two of the biggest names out there. You can see all the different Rothschilds that have been around. You'll see all their connections, their businesses, who they're related to. This is another one. It's just interesting to see. And you can link all these different companies and everything and sort of piece it together and realize, oh, so all of these companies and countries and financiers, the bankers, the politicians, they're actually just all working for the same group. And you can confirm that with a website like Monarchy. Now, you probably can't see this. That font is really small. This is part of the family tree of the Rothschilds. Going back into the 1500s, before they even changed their name. And what you'll see on this image here, I won't go through it obviously, but the different regions of the world where they have exerted their dominance. And then you'll see as time goes on how that spreads. So you can just go and see Rothschild family tree. You can search that online, or of course I will have this in the description of this video for you to check out. Then interconnected with that is this: relationships between Queen Elizabeth II and other European sovereigns. What you'll see at the top here is the Prince of Orange, and Orange is basically south of France. Over time, you'll see how they spread out and their connections are very obvious. Looking at just a few examples here. The King of Netherlands, looking at the King of Denmark, Norway, the Prince of Sweden, King of the Belgians, Great Britain, Barcelona, Spain, Monaco, and others. They are all part of the same group. You see borders, you see countries, you see families, you see kings and queens, presidents and prime ministers, but they don't. They see them and us. This establishes the facts. That's what we need. We need facts. This is just one of them. This was a document pro-Rothschild back in the 1800s. I won't read it all to you. This little snippet here had some interesting points. The Rothschilds are the wonders of modern banking. They stretched their hand from Peterborough to Vienna, and Vienna to Paris, Paris to London, London to Washington. And it goes on here. Talking very highly of the Rothschilds. He holds the keys of peace or war, blessing or cursing. Apparently he's more of a real force than David, more wisdom than Solomon. And then it talks about the infamous Palestine. Essentially saying they are the brokers and counselors of the kings of Europe and of the Republican chiefs of America. What more can they desire? And this shows you just one more example of how powerful this family is. Even in the 1800s, they were talking like this. Still today, they exist, they exert their dominance upon the public. And I'd like to finish off with this. In 1917, there's something called the Balfour Declaration. I'll quickly cover this. I believe it's very important. Foreign Secretary Arthur James Balfour writes a letter to Britain's most illustrious Jewish citizen, Baron Lionel Walter Rothschild, expressing the British government's support for a Jewish homeland in Palestine. Now, we look into that document. You can see this. It's very simple, small letter. Dear Lord Rothschild. And he basically said, we need to set up a little place in Palestine for the Jewish people. And so, take care of that for us. Please, help us out. And it's funny that the British asked the Rothschilds to make it happen because they're so powerful. They're bigger than governments. They have more influence than politicians. They own and control the system. Now, there are several families, but in this video, I want to highlight just the Rothschilds. Imagine this, that in 1917, they're asking permission to make this happen. And of course, we know what happened, 1948. Looking at this, understanding the power of this family, that they were able to accomplish everything they have set out to do. They have so many palaces that they have been donating them to different groups over the years. Massive, gigantic palaces. They have so many, they don't even need them. They don't even need them. All right. Just to touch on a couple points. I found this interesting here to see just some. Rothschild banking family of Naples, England, Austria, Germany, France, and Switzerland. They financed the Napoleonic Wars. That's a fact. And Nathan Mayer Rothschild was instrumental in almost single-handedly financing the British war effort, financing the shipment of bullion to the Duke of Wellington's army across Europe. And then it goes on. Imagine that one family is financing this war. And of course, financing both sides of it. They have palaces, as you can see on the right-hand side. Not in one country or two countries, but all around the world. Those big palaces, they belong to them. They belong to the Rothschilds. They control the money. They're bigger than any banker that we know. Of course, there are other families out there. But of the names that we know, these are basically the top of the top. And it shows you what money can do. They control it, they run the show, and they've still been able to maintain dominance after hundreds of years. So that's all for this video. If you found it informative, please give me a thumbs up. And I just wanted to note that I previously did a video about the Rothschilds and the financial aspect, what they've been buying and selling. So you can see that information is public, and I get into that in this video, which, by the way, at the time of this recording has over 500,000 views. You can see that I will put a link directly in the description of this video. Just click on that, watch that if you haven't already. You can see what they've been buying and selling. So take a look at that. Thank you all. Take care.